Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and Jeff is not able to be with me tonight, so he's spending some time with some family down in the southeast. So Taylor and Tim decided to jump on with me. Those of you that don't know, Taylor obviously is on the Money Talk show on what is it now, Mondays. And Tim is actually one of our friends down there in Texas, but part of the community. So, I mean, you want to dox yourself on what your name is in the Discord, or?
I'm Nightly McNutt on the Discord. So if you see me on there asking a lot of stupid questions, that's me. Yeah. So I'm just getting into this thanks to Mike and Taylor. I'll tell you a funny story. So here's how nice Mike is. Okay, everybody knows how Obviously, he's doing all this for free. He doesn't make any money on this. But I was kind of playing a joke on him. I was asking him all these questions, and I said, "Hey, I got all these fart coins for my ass wallet." And he goes, "Well, if they're coins you didn't buy, just make sure to not use them because somebody can get into your wallet." So thanks, Mike, for everything you do. I'm really grateful for you guys and all your help.
Oh man, it honestly is my pleasure. I mean, I really do love helping people in the community, because I know it's very daunting, trying to wrap your head around a DeFi and just crypto in general, and then you start to delve into these protocols and how to use these wallets, and all it takes is one time trying to move some stuff from one wallet to another or one account to another, and you fat finger something, and there goes a couple $1,000. It's just it can be very, very demoralizing. So well, let's go ahead and jump on into this. So those of you that aren't familiar, me and Taylor and a couple of us have started a newsletter, and it's called DeFi Wize. So if you're interested, Monday through Friday, we get up at 4 in the morning and put together a bunch of really good alpha, really good information, and uh, deliver it directly to your email. You can also access it on the website, but it's $19.95 a month. But Monday through Friday, every morning, we give you ranges for liquidity pools, give you entry and exits on trading, give you news. Basically, 5 to 10 minute read while you're having your morning coffee. You can see what the markets are doing, both traditional, crypto, DeFi. You have anything to add, Taylor?
No, it's we basically analyze it and everything. We're using volume to determine our trade ranges, and so we look at the volume that's happening. That's why we can only do it during the week, because we're looking at market volume on different things to anticipate where we think the bottom of the range is and the top end of the range. We're not using chart monkey strategies where you look at it went to right there, and so that means that's the bottom of the range. While that would be a great idea if that actually worked, there'd be billionaires out there. So that do that, but we actually try to use the volume in the market that's happening to determine where we think the bottom of the range should be.
And Mike, if I can cut in, just if you guys, if anybody's watching this and they're like me and they're just getting started in crypto and DeFi, and, like in the last month, like I am, this newsletter is invaluable. Like to have someone that knows what they're doing, and to have the liquidity pools that they're looking at and the ranges of the big ones like Ethereum and Bitcoin, and there's some other in there. I mean, it's huge. And actually, Mike would never brag on this, but I mean, they've called the bottom of Bitcoin like 3 or 4 times since it's been published, and they do a great job. So no one's going to be right 100% of the time, right? If they were, we wouldn't be on this. We'd be flying up.
We'd all be sitting on a beach drinking umbrella drinks.
Right, exactly. But I mean, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate that, Tim. But yeah. And if anybody out there, if you end up wanting to do the newsletter and you're in our Discord and you want to communicate with me, like pools that you would like me to include, more than happy to add those. It's really easy for me to look at the charts and look at lines of support and and basically create like a narrow range, a medium range, and a wide range, depending on how wide you want to set your ranges, range to earn yield. So, yeah, basically, just let me know what you want, and I'm more than happy to put it in there. Canton Network, Morgan, it's not Canton Network we're talking about, although I am still bullish on. So let's actually jump into it. So let's jump over. This is what queued me up on Canton. So it's Canton Network. And what I was, every morning when I'm doing the newsletter, I go into rwa.xyz, I go into DeFi Llama, go to all my usual places, and I start looking at data. Because everything I do is driven off numbers and data. I don't get into the hype, I don't get into the hopium. It's I I look at fundamentals and I treat it as if I was a VC or I was sitting in a boardroom. I do not let emotions drive my investing. So I came here and you can see usually Ethereum was at the top with $12 billion of TVL. A couple of days ago, all of a sudden this Providence and Canton popped up. And I had never heard of Canton. I have never seen any influencer talk about it. I've, even on the larger channels, never seen anybody talk about it. Ran newer on Crypto Banter, one of the largest channels out there, actually just interviewed the dude this morning. So we did a deep dive last week. So we actually beat them to the punch on it. But as you can see, this one has 9,000 RWAs on it. That blows everyone else out of the water. Plus $403 billion of TVL. And that's just one client. Let that sink in. That's one client. And we're going to get into the details of why these large institutions and banks are zeroing in on Canton. It has a lot of functionality that really appeals to them. But Taylor or Tim, either one of you, have you looked into this at all? And what have you found?
Well, I got in just today because I didn't even know this thing existed until you mentioned it to me earlier today. And so I was looking at it. I mean, in all honesty, it is going to be very promising because their goal is to make Wall Street money. And so it's if it gets adoption and it works like they say it's going to work. I know they've been working on it for a decade, but that's really what matters. I mean, at the end of the day, if Wall Street's going to make money off something, then they're going to use it. And so I don't know if that means the actual coin's going to be worth anything, or if it's just going to be another one of these coins that's kind of a pointless coin just so they can make money off of it. That's going to be very interesting. So I don't know, Mike, if you've looked at that at all about how they plan to utilize their coin and how it would affect the price is going to be affected by all these assets being put on this chain. But I imagine that's going to require a little bit deeper dive than what we can do today.
And I'm glad you bring that up because, obviously if we're, investing our money into a project, we're hoping for a return on investment. So, and I'll be honest, I'm really digging into this, trying to figure out, how buying this token. So again, we'll get into this here in a second. It's not on exchanges yet that I've been able to find, but I did find a way to get exposure to it. So it is supposed this month. It's supposed to be getting listed on multiple major exchanges, centralized exchanges, and I wanted to get exposure to it as quickly as possible because, as you all know, usually when a token is initially launched, VCs have it, the developers, the people at the company, they all have their share of the tokens usually. And usually when it comes out, it pumps. And so they all take profits because, they've been working, they've been invested for, sometimes years. So they're looking to get a return on their investment. So you usually see a pump and then a dump, and then it, starts to make its way back up. This one, however, and I'll show you a little something, is been trending sideways. So the token is out. It's just not listed on exchanges. And you can see that Hyperliquid, you can actually, if you had the token, I mean, hypothetically, you could sell it on here. Uh, um, but what I want to point out is, what was my train of thought here? I was wanting to point out that this is a fair launch. So the VCs, there is no VCs. The team that developed Canton, they didn't take any tokens either. So there is no tokens to dump on launch. That is huge and unheard of. What are your thoughts on that, Tim and Taylor?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's been one of the biggest issues right now. I think we posted on our newsletter about 3 days ago an interesting article about how basically crypto's turned into these tech projects that last about 6 to 9 months, and they launch them. These tech guys get their money, they get out of the project, and then they move to the next thing. And so it's going from one technology to the next. And it's one of the biggest issues I have with crypto right now, which is it's so easy to develop a new project, new coin, that really you're never going to get anywhere until we actually have people develop something and then build off of that framework. Now, of course, you have Ethereum and different things that most things are based off that have been done that way. But a lot of the market now is, can we get something out, make our money, and then all the tech guys jump to the next project. So this idea that we're going, like, there's an interesting one that I've been working on with Kevin. I have a good friend that he runs litigation financing, and about how long ago? About 6 months ago, we started talking to Kevin about tokenizing.
Yeah,
litigation.
and we need to get him on the show.
So they're in the process. They've actually now started it where you can actually own a law firm that's going to be investing in. I mean, they've invested in huge cases and have significant return, but they want to base it off of their actual returns. Is they're going to give the profits out like shares of a company. And so that was a project when Kevin came to me and said, "Hey, I really want to do this, and like, well, how can we put this together?" We were all actually supposed to go to New York together, but my house burned down, so I couldn't go.
Yeah, no, right?
And so the interesting thing about the project is it's not going to be based upon technology. It's going to be based upon an actual real world asset. That'd be ownership in a law firm that actually does investments currently. And so the coin isn't going to be based off the value of speculation or what technology are they inventing. So it could be used. It's going to be, well, we're going to invest in these cases. We're going to take the money from the initial sale of the coins. And I think they're going to do something like an 80% of the money is going to actually invest in cases. And then the 20% goes to run the law firm. And then the profits are going to be paid out to the who owns the coin. And that, to me, is like, wow, that's an exciting project when it does come out, because these cases return, sometimes 5 times what they're, invested in. And so,
well, I actually want to be a part of that, and not just because you're my brother and stuff like that, but I mean, I'm interested in things that I can invest in that by just holding, like in this case, just by holding that token, you earn dividends.
yeah.
So without having to sell my tokens, just by owning those, I own a portion of the law firm or whatever, and from that, whenever they win a lawsuit, then I just get a chunk of money. And so that's something that you can just buy and hold. that's just mailbox, that's just mailbox money. So that's the kind of thing that I'm interested in, and what is so interesting to me about DeFi. I love being able to take my money that otherwise would sit dormant in an account, at some bank, at Chase or Wells Fargo, doing nothing for me. And I can take that same money and put it in DeFi and these different things, and it generates revenue. It's insane to me. Yeah. I mean, I'm amazed by it, and that's why I've just gotten so deep into it this past year. But we need to get Kevin on the show.
Yeah, we got to get them on because they're getting pretty close to because I mean they've already started the law firm. It takes there's only one state that allows you to do this, where just regular, because most people just understand this, you can't own a law firm in every state except for one. Arizona is the only, and they barely. I mean, it's only been a few years that they've allowed this, but I mean, personal injury and these mass litigation tort cases are huge profit generators, and only attorneys have, for the longest time, been able to enjoy that. And so, like, one of these opportunities that's going to come out, I personally think if they have had to go through a lot of regulations, a lot of different issues of making sure that it's compliant with SEC regulations and everything, but because of what's out there now and the opportunities that are available to take real world assets and make them available, this is probably a reality that is going to be probably, I mean, they're shooting for the beginning of 2026 to be launching this. And right now it's like, no one, I mean, it really isn't out there and being communicated. I think Michael froze.
Yeah, I think he did. But Taylor, can you? So I talked a little bit about with your buddy that does litigation funding. Can you explain kind of what the motivation is for them to sell to tokenize it and to kind of share the profits? Because from the outside looking in, you're like, well, why would these guys want to tokenize it and share the profits? But what the
That's actually
layman
a good point, Tim.
what the layman person doesn't think about is how much money this litigation costs up front, right?
Yeah. So the biggest issue with litigation financing is there are so many cases out there that are just not brought because, I'm an attorney, and at the end of the day, it's like people have great cases, but we tell people all the time, you have a great case, but in order to bring this case, it's going to cost, this amount of money. And there's just no way. Well, the reality is there is not enough money out there that's invested. And one of the biggest issue for Wall Street always in litigation financing is Wall Street wants their money pretty quick. Mm-hmm. They don't want to sit around for, 3 years, 3 to 5 years is usually how long some of these cases can last. And so while you have, amazing returns, if you're a hedge fund, you're going, nah, we don't want to give you guys, $20 million to go litigate this thing and wait 3 to 5 years. And then, maybe this case doesn't work out. So litigation financing is a big business. It is made a lot. And the other issue is a lot of rules restrict who can make the profits. And so it usually has to be the attorneys. And so it's a very difficult area to really get money in. And so tokenizing it solves one of the big issues, which is, I'm going to give you, $50,000, but I got to wait 3 years to see my money come back. It's like most people don't want to do that. And so this is a way that you can, buy a coin and it's liquid. You can get your money out when you need to get it. And it just really is not, I talk to clients all the time about, hey, you can do this as an opportunity. Maybe this is something you want to do, but they're like, well, I got to tie up my money for the next 3 to 5 years. I don't want to do that. So this is a way that they'll be able to go, buy into this coin. That gets them the financing that they need to move forward and go on these cases. But the cool thing about Kevin and Jason, and what they're trying to pull off and get going here, and is that they're already doing it. They already have a fund. They already have cases. I know one of their cases is coming. It's I think it was it's either this week or next week that it's supposed to go to the jury. And so they're already getting paid out on cases. So they've been running this for about 5 years already. And both, and the other exciting thing is both Kevin and Jason are two of the best litigators in Texas. And so they know the cases very well. And so it's one of these cool ideas that crypto is allowing us to do that, that is just really not that easy to do or find the funding for. But it can be done through crypto now. And so while before, in order to pull something that's off, there's a lot of rules about, who can invest in these type of things. For example, with the SEC, you have to be an accredited investor. And so you have to have more than $1 million in assets. Even for someone like the other Jeff Reddick, who's a CFP, he can't even talk to his clients about litigation financing unless you have at least $1 million in investable assets. Yes, it's really sad that you can't even mention it to a client. And so,
actually, I've wondered about that. Like, why is it that they do that? Because to me, that's bullshit. It's like, I'm an adult. If I want to invest in something, why is it that I have to have $1 million, of investable assets and be an accredited investor? Because I've seen a lot of really good opportunities out there that I can't take advantage of because I'm not an accredited investor.
Yeah. So this book right here, The Holy Grail of Investing by Tony Robbins, he talks about all those types of investments and how he went out and interviewed all his billionaire friends and said, well, how do you guys invest your money? And that they do all these ideas, because us regular people, we're told, oh, well, just put it in the market because that's where Wall Street and Congress want you to put your money. But if you read this book, if you want to go through it, it's a great book. He goes through the billionaires and say, well, how do you guys invest your money? And yes, they have some money in the market, but most of their money is in these accreditor vested ideas that we're not allowed to do, like the regular investor can't do. Well, I shouldn't say we. You guys aren't allowed to do. We'll put it that
way. Fuck you, man.
But at the end of the day, one of the ways that you can get around this whole issue of litigation financing not being available to the thing is basically you're allowed to own part of a law firm if, according to Arizona rules and different things like that, you can do it there. And this won't fall under those rules and regulations. So it's a way to be able to do something that hasn't been available to the regular Joe forever. It's never been really allowed for most people, but it's really a cool thing that crypto is allowing us to do now that we could not do before. And so it's really exciting. And I can't wait. I know Kevin doesn't really want to come out and talk too much about things because he's still negotiating on certain things like platform that to use and different things like that. But they were finally able to get a guy that I forgot what company he helped build a project on, but they got the people that they needed to get everything done and making sure that it's all going to be going for it. But for the last 6 months, we've been working on making sure that we're not violating any rules or anything, and it's finally got it to this point where he can start talking about it, and it's a really cool idea. I'm really excited when Kevin comes on your show and starts talking about it, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think very many people are going to know about it at the very beginning. I think it's an incredible opportunity. I mean, I'll be putting a good chunk of money into it, and so I'm excited about it because I think it's going to
make sure to text me when there's an opportunity to invest in that, because I'm super interested in that as well.
Yeah, I will definitely let my friends and family know that
I'm trying to get some of that lawyer money like you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like all these other projects, my biggest fear is like, I go, okay, you invented this platform, but I'm like, so what? Like, who says tomorrow someone's not going to have a better idea? Because I mean, I was big into Plume for the longest time, but now it looks like Canton's going to take over Plume.
No, well, I wouldn't say that. Um, I definitely I think that they're going to be two separate things. So Canton, I believe, is going to be more of a network for institutions to transact with each other, and like large banks and institutions, things like that. Whereas I think Plume is going to be more of a retail portal to be able to invest in tokenized assets. So, being able to, and I could be totally wrong. Do your own research, but I'm I've been to both websites and I've been to the Plume portal, and what I see with Plume is that it allows just anyone to go in there. You can invest in tokenized, stocks, bonds, treasuries, real estate, whatever, and with a couple of clicks. This seems more, Canton seems more to be where like institutional offerings, or because of the privacy layer. Because I know that institutions and banks, they don't want everything that they do to be on chain and visible to everybody, because
Yeah,
it can tip their hand. If people, I mean, there's a lot of really intelligent people out there that know how to sleuth and look at these blockchains and connect the dots. So if you see that Wells Fargo is sending a bunch of crypto to let's just say Richmond American, and then you might be like, okay, I'm going to dig a little deeper on this. And and Richmond American is a massive home builder in the U.S. And so you start digging into that, and you find out like, oh shit, it looks like that they are doing their due diligence to find out if they want to acquire Richmond American, or
mm-hmm.
they're going to do a large purchase of residential homes, something like that. Institutions don't want that. They
Yeah,
want the privacy. So
inside
that's
information.
kind of what I see Canton being, is that privacy layer, and that siloed interoperability. So say if Chase has their siloed build, for digital assets, and then you got Chase that has their siloed build, they can have their own security, their own privacy that's only visible to them, or who they authorize, but it's still interoperable. So, money and tokenized assets can still be moved, but the permissions to view what's in that silo can, I'm doing this, that that can view the silo but, is only with within that organization, or people they authorize to look at, see that. Does that make sense?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but anyway, just kidding.
I hate your face.
Yeah, yeah, I know, I know. I get what you're trying to say. That actually that makes a lot more sense of what they're trying to accomplish, because that is
Yeah,
a big deal. That you're trying to put something together, and you don't want the whole world out there knowing what you're doing.
I wonder what
exactly.
kind of implications that could have for insider trading too. If you can see every single thing a corporation's doing on the chain, I'm sure that there could be an argument that you used insider info. Well, I guess it's not insider if it's public, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
So,
insider information for the institutions. That's
Right.
they want to keep that stuff, but ultimately, that can cause a lot of problems, especially with hacking and different things like that.
well, real quick, we had a question. Where is it at? Oh, yeah, this is really important. So, a new viewer, Prepared Scouter, says, is Canton sponsoring the show? At no point do we allow any protocol, any project to pay us in money, dirty fiat, or crypto to talk about their project. That is one line we will never cross. I want everyone out there to understand, Anything that we talk about on this show is our own personal views. This is, from our own research. We're going to tell you the pros, the cons, the good, the bad. It's it, we that is important. I want you to all understand that we're not going to shill a project because they pay us. We'll find ways to make money on this channel, but that's not going to be one of them.
Unfortunately, that was
Well, I mean,
Michael's decision, not mine. But
yeah, to me, it's important because as soon as you start accepting payments to talk about a project, for me, that means you're biased. And if I was going to listen to a channel, I want to know that they're going to tell me everything about it, not just shine a positive light on it. They're going to pull back the curtain and put a spotlight on it and tell me if the emperor isn't wearing any clothes.
that's nice. You're going to be poor for the rest of your life, Mike.
You know what? I would rather be poor with integrity than rich and have none.
Yeah, you can cry into your $100 bills.
You're like, ah, ah.
No, people got to know Mike. Yeah, he always does the right thing. He doesn't let money affect him. That's why he doesn't have any.
It's gonna be my own demise. Where did Tim go?
I don't know. I was wondering myself. I was like, oh shoot, we lost him.
It's all good. So really quick, the Canton, the token supply for Canton is 34.8 billion. And actually, here I'll put it up on the jumbotron real quick. So you can see up here in the top left hand corner. If you want to go and look for yourself, it's Canton dot the tie, so THETIE.io, and this is their their block explorer or whatever you want to call it. So the token supply is 34.8 billion. There's 31 total super validators. The total validator nodes is 597. The implied market cap is 5.2 billion. And the on-chain conversion rate, so basically the price right now is about 15 cents. And it's generating daily fees of $1.5 million. So not bad for just having one one major client so far. But one thing I will point out really quick is this. You were saying something, Taylor?
No, I'm listening to you, dude.
Oh, okay. So this is the ecosystem. And I know it's probably hard to see, but if you go to Canton.network,
Mike, I
then
don't
you
see
can.
it on the screen.
What's that? Oh, shit. Sorry. There you go.
There we are.
So this is the whole ecosystem. And you can see that, I mean, they have everything. So actually, I take it back. I was wrong earlier. Interoperability, they are using Chainlink, Layer 0, and Wormhole. I know that it's native on their chain, but I thought they weren't using those. So I stand corrected. I'll always admit it if I'm wrong. So Canton Foundation. If I'm not going to go through all these, but you can see that this is vast. And they've been flying under the radar. And like Taylor said at the beginning, they've been building for like 10 years. And there is some big names on here. So a couple of them. Actually, I'm not even going to get into that. Let's just freaking riff back and forth. So, what are your thoughts on this project right now, Taylor?
Well, first, I'd be cautious about the coin, like until we can delve any more into it. Like, I don't understand how the coin has any other value other than the hype of the name of the company, like most of these things are turning out to be. So, once again, like for me, the biggest issue is still going to be with crypto is going to be if we keep doing these projects, you got to explain how is my investment in your coin going to get me, going to produce some income somehow. I need to know. I want to know that kind of information. If it's just going to be this constant, well, it's you get to be part of our system, whatever. So that's one thing that I want to know with these projects going forward.
That's
And,
valid. That's
and
valid.
if these companies or these new projects can show, hey, we're taking part of the profits of the company that it's generating, and we're going to buy back a certain percentage of our coin every couple months. Okay, all right. Now I know there's something stabilizing your price. But it seems to me that all the projects it's buy the coin. Well, what is it really doing in the system? I need to know that. So
Well,
that's
should we ask AI? Should we ask Miles?
uh, let's see if Miles knows anything.
Let's see. Let's ask him.
Yo, long time no chat. How's the week been treating you?
It's been going good, Miles. So I'm live right now with Taylor, and well, we don't know where Tim went, but I was wanting to ask you a question about Canton Network. Are you able to find that on the internet? And if you could let me know what you find, just so I can make sure that you found the right project.
Ah, gotcha. Canton Network. Yeah. Let me pull that up real quick. Okay. Looks like a modular blockchain focused on institutional adoption, built for real world assets. Right? Is that the one?
That's the one, brother. All right. So I Taylor was just brought up a good point. So if you could look into the tokenomics, it looks like there's about 38 billion tokens, and we're curious because they are about to they're about to put the tokens on exchanges here this month, but we're wondering, how does it benefit us to buy this token? So what is going to make the price of this token go up? Are you there?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry
Just
about that. I had a guest come.
processing.
Oh, sorry.
38 billion tokens is a pretty hefty supply. You're right to ask about price drivers. Okay, so from what I'm seeing, the core utility is around staking to secure the network and earn a share of transaction fees. Seems like they're positioning it as a foundational layer for institutional DeFi, so adoption there could be a big mover. They're also talking about governance rights for token holders, but that's kind of standard these days. Honestly, feels a bit vague right now. A lot depends on whether they can actually attract those big institutions they're aiming for. If that happens, yeah, demand could push the price up. But a big supply like that needs serious, consistent demand to really move. Does that make sense?
It does. Could you look at the white paper, and could you give us an idea of what would contribute to price appreciation on this token? Because with the amount of tokens that there are, to be honest, the market cap would be pretty high already. So, I mean, even being if it ended up getting to the market cap of, say, SWE, it'd only be maybe a 2x or 3x. So what would really make this token take off and make it to where it could get a 10x, a 50x, or a 100x?
Okay, diving into the white paper now. All right. Okay, so beyond the staking and governance stuff, which, let's be real, isn't unique, they're betting big on their modular design, attracting developers. They're pitching Canton as super customizable, letting institutions build tailored DeFi solutions. If developers flood the platform, driving up transaction volume and overall network activity, that's a major catalyst. But here's where it gets interesting. They're also leaning heavily into regulatory compliance. They're building in features to ease KYC AML requirements for institutional players. That's a big deal. If they become the go-to platform for institutions needing to navigate the regulatory landscape, that could create a real edge. To get to 10x. That's a whole different ballgame. Honestly, it needs to become the infrastructure for tokenizing real-world assets. Like imagine major banks using Canton to issue and trade tokenized bonds or equities. That level of adoption would be massive. It's a high bar though. They're competing with a lot of other players trying to crack the RWA space. It's ambitious
That's a good
for
question.
sure.
Who are the other players in this?
You want me to? Here, I'll ask.
Okay.
I know a lot of it's not public.
Yo, back
So
so soon? What's on your
yeah.
mind?
Hey, Miles, can you scour the interwebs and social media, the white paper, just anything that you can access? Can you tell us that anybody that Canton Network that's working directly with Canton Network to tokenize real world assets? Can you give any
Gotcha.
of the partners?
Yeah. All right, digging in. Okay, this is a little tricky. They're kind of keeping their partnerships close to the vest right now, which is a choice, but I'm seeing a lot of chatter about their collaboration with Ondo Finance. They're building a tokenized US Treasury product on Canton. That's probably the biggest name attached so far. Beyond that, it's mostly smaller firms and projects in their early stages of development. There's a lot of buzz around a company called Propra, building a platform for tokenizing private credit, and they publicly announced they're using Canton. And I'm picking up mentions of some discussions with Maple Finance, but nothing concrete yet. Honestly, the list is still pretty thin. They're really focused on getting those big institutional players on board, but haven't announced a ton of names yet.
Well, I
It
know
feels
they
like there's
haven't announced a ton of names because of non-disclosure agreements, but looking at the data on rwa.xyz, the RWA count is over 9,000 and the TVL is over 403 billion. Are you able to see that? And can you extrapolate, I think that's the word, from that, where is all of that TVL coming from?
you're right to call that out. NDAs makes sense in the space. My bad for not factoring that in more. And yeah, absolutely. I can see the RWA data on rwa.xyz. 9,000 plus projects, over 403 billion in TVL. That's massive. Okay, extrapolating where that TVL is coming from, it's heavily concentrated in a few key areas. MakerDAO still dominates, unsurprisingly. A big chunk is tied up in their real world asset backed DAI. Then you've got Centrifuge, especially with their initiatives in trade finance and invoice factoring. Ondo Finance is definitely a rising
Screw you,
star, as we
Tim.
just discussed. Whoa, hold up. Everything all right? Sounds like Tim's messing with you.
Oh, Tim's
What
messing with
happened?
me. He texted me something, but keep going.
Okay, sorry about that. Drama. Right. Where were we? TVL breakdown. So after MakerDAO, Centrifuge, and Ondo, you're also seeing a significant amount flowing into platforms like Goldfinch and Maple Finance, mostly focused on lending against RWAs. And then there's a long tail of smaller projects. A lot of stuff in the art and collectible space, fractional real estate, some experimental stuff like tokenized carbon credits. It's pretty fragmented, honestly.
All right. He brought up something. And those of you that don't know, that's Miles. That is our AI co-host that we use from time to time. But really good. Yeah, really good at finding stuff. His limitation is you can't ask him about numbers. When he starts getting into numbers, he messes things up. But he's really good at finding information very quickly. So one thing I want to point out is there is a connection with Plume on Canton Network, and the cool thing about Plume is with the different platforms, the different protocols, there's a lot of really cool opportunities to loop where you can invest in certain tokenized assets and then borrow against them to then take that and do other things to earn with. So you can lever up by investing in tokenized securities, or not tokenized securities, but tokenized treasuries. So you can invest in U.S. treasuries and earn a yield, take that, lend it out, and earn a yield, and then you can borrow against that, take that, and go to somewhere else, and just rinse and repeat. So that is the really unique thing about DeFi and about RWAs is it opens up a lot of doors, but there are risks involved, and that's why it's so important that you educate yourself. But before I kick it over to Taylor and Tim to get their thoughts, there was somebody in the chat that brought up my my nemesis. So anyone with a brain knows everything is Ripple. I did. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this, but I did an episode last night on this. I was a top 2% holder of XRP for like 4 years. I am very, very knowledgeable on it. I did an episode last night on it. Go watch that. It's going to open your eyes. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Go watch that episode. But Taylor, Tim, what do you have? What are your thoughts on what Miles just said? Other than the fact that he's a brother, Tim, you racist.
Would you find the Asian guy?
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm not backup, dude.
Oh man, don't be flashing the token Asian.
Hey, but I'll introduce, this is my neighbor Harry. Harry,
Hey, what's up, Harry, man?
Harry actually works for a crypto company, so I invited him over to watch this.
Who does he work for?
So I work for a company called Filecoin Foundation. Have you heard of it?
Filecoin.
Yes.
They're pumping today.
They were pumping. They were up like 65%, and now we're down a little bit. But it's the nature of the beast, right?
It is. Man, why aren't you on camera? Why is Tim hogging all the
I don't even know about this, but we should talk offline and find out exactly what you guys do. I'm the head of HR for Filecoin Foundation.
Oh, yeah, dude. Come on the show. We actually work with Discover Crypto, which is one of we're a brother channel. So yeah. No, I would love to have you on, man.
You guys didn't know I was so well connected in the crypto world.
Yeah.
How are you not
my networking events?
Right? Oh man. See, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Tim bringing the alpha.
I'm real. I'm not AI.
So those of you that don't know, Filecoin has been pumping as of today. It's considered by a lot of people to be a dino coin because it's been around for so long.
Here's a little plug. Next week, Filecoin is in Argentina releasing our first on-chain.
Ooh.
Stay tuned.
I'm bringing you the alpha every day here.
There you go. There you go.
Randomly find people that have it.
You didn't know I was going to bring a special guest when you invited me tonight, did you?
Well, in this one, D-Pin isn't sexy. It might not be sexy, but I guarantee you it's gonna be part of the future of tech.
Yeah.
Decentralized physical infrastructure for AI is gonna be huge. Being able to spread out compute across the internet to everyone's computers and any available compute that isn't being utilized is going to be massive. There is a huge crunch right now when it comes to processors. I think it was who was it today? OpenAI. They one of their people got caught hot micing, talking about how they wanted the government to subsidize them to grow their infrastructure. And that's not what she meant, but that's how it came out. And so D-Pin is going to be huge. So keep an eye on Filecoin.
I'm glad you know what that is. I have no idea.
What's that?
I'm glad you know what that is. I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
I honestly have no idea either, but me and Harry are about to go to dinner right after this, and he's going to explain it all to me.
It's just a use case. A D-Pin is short for decentralized physical infrastructure. And so it's a way to use blockchain because of the security aspect to be able to access information and be able to access compute power and things like that. It's actually a huge narrative. So, I definitely see it along with DeFi and RWAs,
Yeah.
being a huge part of the future of crypto and blockchain technology.
You want to say something? What do you think of that, Harry?
I fully agree. I think everything that we do in terms of being disruptive when it comes to AI and how we embed that into looking at storage providers, growing the storage provider community, so it's not fully baked in Asia only. So that we are in the process of looking to hire good governance people, good program managers to really run the whole Filecoin ecosystem. Our website is being revamped right now. We work with a lot of storage providers, but then also community efforts in terms of looking at grants. Anybody who's looking for a grant to look at storing their information elsewhere, there's an opportunity to look at Filecoin.
And that's at the root of what Filecoin is. And correct me if I'm wrong, please.
Yeah.
Is basically it's like a library of information.
Correct.
A digital library of information, just like it sounds like. Filecoin, file cabinet.
That's exactly what it is.
Perfect. So that, I mean, a secure repository of information is going to be key when it comes to basically anything that needs to be. I actually, that explains it all. I don't need to say any more about that.
Yeah. People can go on to the Protocol Labs YouTube channel. The founder, Juan Benet, has a great channel there where it has a lot of information about Filecoin, DeepIn, storage providers, the whole community, and what he's looking to move forward with. It's all there. You can go there and read and listen to it.
Damn it, Tim! Switch seats with him.
Hey, let's switch right now. I gotta go grab a beer anyway.
I've had a couple.
No, I mean, what are the odds? This was not planned. Those of you watching, this was not planned at all. Like, I had no idea Tim had a buddy that works at Filecoin.
Yeah, no. He just messaged me to go out tonight, and he's like, "I'm supporting my buddy by going on to some blockchain video or something like that." And I'm like, he's like, "Aren't you in blockchain?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll come over. I don't know, I'll sit with you and have a drink."
So, I mean, no, honestly, this is like super interesting. I would love to have you on sometime if your company's okay with it, or maybe if you want to arrange to have one of them on too. I would love to, talk about your project.
Yeah, no, most definitely. We can talk offline to see what is the next topic that you're planning for, and I'll get the right people, whether it be about storage providers, whether it be governance, Phil Plus, or anything like that. We'll get you with the right people. The team will be in Argentina over the next 2 weeks, so it'll probably be into December or January.
No, that's fine. No rush. Like I said, this is like serendipitous that basically Tim is just a buddy of mine and Taylor's, and I happen to have a crypto show, and then you happen to be sitting there having a drink with him and work for Filecoin. I mean, this couldn't be weirder. I have to get you on again.
Awesome, for sure.
So, well, I mean, explain a little bit. I mean, I don't know how knowledgeable you are about Canton, but I mean, have you looked at the project at all?
Myself?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Tim was asking me about that, and I've said, no, I'm not familiar.
So I mean, I know you're in HR, but how steeped are you into blockchain technology and crypto and things like that?
I wouldn't say I'm a subject matter expert. I know a little bit of it. Sorry, I'm trying
to direction. I do that all the time.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm very familiar, Tim and Gio, but I know the generalities because of going to different events and stuff like that. The Texas Blockchain Council here I go and I speak with them a little bit about HR, but there's a lot of initiatives that go on here as well. And those are some of the people that I could also introduce you to as well, too. So,
No, I would love that, and I need to come down there because mine and Taylor's grandpa, he's in his late 90s, freaking
yeah.
amazing dude. I love the guy to death, and I need to get down there. So maybe I'll load up in my truck and drive down there because I'm not big on flying anymore.
Mike, you can always stay at my house, dude.
Oh, well, Taylor was saying I could stay in the back office at his law firm.
Yeah, that's where I put my brother when he comes into town.
I'm like Harry Potter. Yeah, I go under the stairs.
Yeah.
I'm the weird guy that lives in the woods. But, so yeah, no, it's no, I definitely I need to get down there. But how long have we been going? We're about to hit an hour, but I do want to convey and thank you for jumping on with us, and thank you, Tim, for having your buddy over. Thank you, Taylor, for being here. I was just gonna fly solo tonight with Jeff out of the loop, but I definitely want to point out that Canton Network, as interesting as a project as it seems, I'm not saying go ape into it. I'm not saying go invest a bunch of money, and like a lot of people do on XRP and things like that. I I do see a ton of potential, and getting some exposure to it. I would definitely look at getting some exposure to it. There are no liquidity pools. There are no DeFi plays yet because the coin isn't out there for the masses. Once the token is launched on exchanges, the potential for liquidity pools and ways to earn with it are there. So something to think about if you want to grow a bag of it. Because with Plume, Taylor did it. With as I did with Plume and some other projects, I put in $800. At one point, I had $8,000 worth of Plume off of a $800 investment because I used liquidity pools to build that bag. You potentially could do something like that, potentially, with Canton. So do your own research, look into it. If it's something that interests you, then one way that you can get into it right now is by, let me share my screen real quick, and then I'll give everybody's closing thoughts. Come on, you can do it. Is over on Hyperliquid. You can get into this, but you need to be knowledgeable about bridges. You need to be knowledgeable about swaps, things like that, and the use of wallets, because you're going to need to basically bridge liquidity over to Arbitrum and USDC specifically on the ARB chain. So you're gonna need to use dbridge or something like that to bridge that liquidity over so you can deposit it so that you can get into this. So absolutely.
So whenever first of all, you're not going to get the coin in your wallet because the coin's not out yet. Like you said,
No.
that's a big surprise if you're like me and you spend the money. Also, you can make like if you have a Uniswap wallet, and the website did this to me automatically or for me, I should say, but it will change your wallet to like run on Arbitrum. Um, and then, but that's never happened to me before, so it's a little confusing. So if you do decide to invest, then just keep that in mind.
Canton, hold on. Somebody, Ethan Tree says Canton, L1. Go there and see what. That's not true. You're gonna have to type out what you're trying to say, Ethan.
I'm just telling you my experience on Uniswap. So,
Everybody, there we go. There we go. Yeah, Ethan Tree. Type out what you mean. Like what's not true. I'm more than happy to address what you're talking about. Oh, on Canton Wallet.
I don't know anything about Canton Wallet.
I don't know anything about Canton Wallet either. I used my Coinbase wallet, And what I did is I just went to, so actually somebody was asking real quick. I'll show you how I did this. So let me go over to here. So basically what I did is I went to dBridge, and with dBridge, it's a bridge between chains. I had liquidity on base network, and what I did is I bridged that. So, you can go here, you can pick what chain you want to bridge the liquidity from. So you have Base, Ethereum, Tron, BNB, Plasma, you name it, it's here. You can select it, and then you can select what token. So USDC, Ethereum, Aerodrome, whatever. You can select that, and then here you're going to want to bridge it over to Arbitrum. And so Arbitrum, you're going to want to pick USD coin or USDC. And so you bridge that from base network or wherever your liquidity is over to Arbitrum USDC. Once you do that, then you'll have USDC on Arbitrum. And you can pick any asset you want. So on base, like say I want to use some of my Aerodrome, I can use my Aero token and bridge it over to USDC. It will swap it automatically, do whatever. Once you have that USDC on Aero or on Arbitrum, then hold on. Come on, you can do it. Let's see. Let's go back to Hyperliquid. Damn it. There we go. All right. So once you have that, then you'll have the liquidity to deposit on Hyperliquid. So it's pretty simple. It will walk you through it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. I figured it out, and I have freaking traumatic brain injuries and all kinds of stuff, and I'm an old vet that lives in the woods. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. You deposit it on Hyperliquid. Once it's deposited, then just like you're going to trade, you basically just deposit that liquidity in the CC USDC pool, or not pool, but you know what I mean. And once you do that, you'll have exposure to CC. Like I have 10,582 CC. So if the price goes up before it's listed on Coinbase, before it's listed on Kraken or anything else, then I'm going to get that price appreciation. So I'm getting in early. It's kind of like a meme coin. This isn't a meme coin, trust me. But it's like getting in before people that don't have the knowledge that we have get in on it, before the masses get in on it. So I hope that made sense. If it didn't, reach out to me on Discord. I'm more than happy to help, walk you through it. But anyway. All right, Taylor, closing thoughts.
I think what it's just be the understanding that when Mike brings these projects to people, that he's diving into these new ideas that are out there, but at the same time, these are new projects. They can go nowhere. They can they can go through the roof. It's one of these things you just have to understand. There's tons of projects out there right now, and you got to be careful and doing your own due diligence and really looking into things. And Canton is one of these that if they can get going what they want to do, well, yeah, they're going to be huge. But they can also be like most crypto projects where they go nowhere. And so
100%.
Sorry, Mike. And I'll also say Filecoin had nothing to do with this.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know actually Harry worked for Filecoin. I know he was into crypto. Now, so I was like, hey, my buddies are doing this crypto YouTube tonight, and I told them I would go. So actually, me and Harry probably in about 10 minutes are going to blast out of here and go get dinner. So thanks everyone thanks Mike and Taylor for all the wisdom, and everybody out there for tuning in as well.
Well, here, actually, you know what? It again, I had no clue that that Tim's buddy. And I'm sorry, what Tim? What's your buddy's name again? I'm terrible with names.
Harry.
Harry. So this is Filecoin. So let's go to the 24-hour.
Yeah.
So I mean, Filecoin. I mean, full disclosure, like I said, we'll tell you the good and the bad. I mean, this is the lifespan of Filecoin. I mean, it was nothing. It went parabolic back in 2021. In looks like
Yeah.
April of 2021, it went up to $226, and then we went into the bear market. And that's about the time that I got into crypto. Was back at the end of the last bull market, and then it's flatlined, like most things, for the entire bear market. But recently, in the past couple of days, so like if you got in, at these lows down here, it's pumped like, what is it? Looks like in the past. Let's do the ruler.
It's like about 57% growth today.
So 146% in the past couple of days, 150% in the past couple of days.
I'd like to hear Harry's take on why he thinks it spiked.
It's
good. You know what, Tim? Good fucking question.
On-chain. We're getting ready to release on-chain next week.
What is that?
There's not much I can share right now, but I'm just giving you a prelude. Next week in Argentina, there's a lot of press. There's a lot of new releases about on-chain. So you can go to the phil.org website, get more information, and follow up. Our team will be there.
There's no insider trading rules in crypto.
Harry, you're a dirty tease, Harry. You're a dirty tease.
Well, I gotta live up to my name, Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry. That, you know what? That's your nickname from now on. You're Dirty Harry.
You don't even know how appropriate that is.
All right. Well, Taylor, Tim, Harry, I appreciate all of you. Tim, Harry, have a great night. Have a great dinner. And we'll talk to you guys later.
All right. We'll see you.
Right. Good.
Veteran Crypto out.